Thank you very much, our distinguished head of the public service and the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Let me recognize the presence of our distinguished Governor General, His Excellency Sir Edmund Lawrence, our Speaker of the National Assembly, Mr. Curtis Martin, our Acting Prime Minister, the Honorable Marcelo Liebert, and our distinguished Attorney General, Mr. Jason Hamilton, Minister Cathy, our heads of mission and non-resident ambassadors, and at this point, I would adopt the other aspects of the protocol that were established by our chairman. Good morning and welcome. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, over which I proudly reside as Minister, is largely responsible for the formation and coordination of the Federation's foreign policy, which, like that of any other state, is a projection of our domestic imperatives. In a sense, foreign policy may be considered as a strategy to realize the larger national interests. It is a state responsibility to adopt policies, domestic and foreign, that are in the best interests of their societies. It follows, therefore, that to formulate a foreign policy of relevance, its crafters cannot be isolated from the realities of the domestic context, but must be knowledgeable about the country's goals and aspirations. This retreat avails to our representatives in different postings around the world the opportunity to come home and interact with their colleagues here to achieve consensus on what should comprise the foreign policy of St. Kitts and Nevis. As a state, St. Kitts and Nevis does not exist within a vacuum, but operates and interacts fully as part of the global network. Consequently, while on one hand its foreign policy will be distinctive from that of another country due to its own national dynamics, yet on the other hand, it will be influenced by what occurs around it. Knowledge about happenings within our domestic domain is equally important as awareness about contemporary and projected international realities, which will also impact heavily upon our foreign policy. It is a truism that evolutions in economic policy will effect alterations in our foreign policy. The repercussions of the global financial and economic crisis remain current and will impact our outlook for generations to come. An element of continuity and change will pervade our foreign policy based on past evolution and current orientation. We endeavor to maintain strong relations with traditional partners who uphold our principles of democracy, rule of law, and respect, who continue to cooperate in a spirit of goodwill and fraternity. Central to our deliberations is the reality that the world we inherit after becoming a nation has evolved significantly, and as the process continues, we must also change with the times. The reality is that the region's international relations have featured both a formal sector, namely relations among states, as well as an informal sector, that is, relations with non-state actors. Non-state multinational agencies have featured prominently in Caribbean affairs throughout the provision of economic assistance. As means of enforcement of an economic code of conduct in the international debt regime, multilateral organizations wield some level of political and economic clout. As the Asian tigers and the BRICS economies continue to expand, South-to-South cooperation remains as a primary foreign policy objective. Overseas development assistance is dwindling. The quota and preferential treatment regimes of the past, specifically in the area of trade, have long been terminated. In this open market economy era, we find ourselves as developing nations as it was thrown from a capsized boat in the ocean, battling for our survival. We have come to realize that the term survival of the fittest transcends the sphere of science to the realm of international relations. One of the strategies of achieving diplomatic fitness is by developing a visible and meaningful foreign policy. St. Kitts-Nevis is fully committed to regional integration both via the OACS Economic Union and the CSME. While supporting regional efforts of integration and Caribbean convergence, we shall ensure actions and commitments that concur with our national goals. These are definitive factors that will shape our nation's policy and inform our discussion during this retreat. Over the next 2 days, it is critical, therefore, that we chart an innovative and strategic course, realigning our foreign policy to reflect the order of the day. On the threshold of our celebration of our 30th anniversary since achieving nationhood, this exercise is as timely as it is critical. It is anticipated that this retreat will reinforce those priorities and rejuvenate and motivate us to remain good stewards and guardians of our nation's interests in our engagement with the rest of the world. Diplomacy is indeed an art, and I wish to commend all our heads of missions, both those who have served in the past and those currently representing us abroad, for their commitment to our mandate. May I also recognize our non-resident diplomats, who, although not posted overseas, fulfill an equally important role in representing us to the countries to which they are accredited. The current global climate in which you operate represents challenges which at times appear insurmountable, especially in the context of scarce resources and fiscal constraints. However, you continue to perform your duties with diligence and a deep-seated love of your country. On this occasion, I express appreciation on my own behalf and that of my ministerial colleagues for all you continue to do for the good of your beloved nation, St. Christopher and Nevis. Allow me at this juncture to also express to the Parliament Secretary, Mr. Elvis Newton, and the members of staff here at the Ministry, sincerest gratitude for your relentless support since I began my tenure as Foreign Minister, and especially for successfully organizing this event. I am indeed confident, therefore, that over these 2 days, we would engage in meaningful deliberations and arrive at concrete decisions about St. Kitts and Nevis's constructive approach to global reconfiguration and Caribbean international relations. May it please you.